The second of the 3 live debates took place on Sunday, August the 17th at the Bel Air Community Center. Organized by the As Video Studio, the number 2 candidates on all political parties contesting the August 29th elections debated issues relating to the St. Martin community. St. Martin Newsroom gives candidate number 2 of the United St. Martin Party, Leona Marlin, the edge over all other candidates. St. Martin Newsroom brings you the highlights.
Its people, if elected, how do you plan to strengthen the foundation of this country?
Indeed, the foundation of this country is its people, not only locals, but those who call St. Martin their own. It is important for us to ensure that those who are here, living here in St. Martin, that we fight for them on all levels, that we ensure that they are able to live a higher standard of living here in St. Martin. And this is the aspect in what the United St. Martin Party is going to push to ensure that the foundation stays solid. And in order for the foundation to stay solid, government has to also take strong measures to ensure that the people of St. Martin is protected. Thank you, Mrs. Marlon Romeo. Ms. Arundel, you may begin.
Thank you. Strengthening the foundations means being inclusive. St. Martin has over 140 nationalities. There must be a reason why these citizens chose our country to come and live and make sure that the kids go to school and be happy here. So, by being inclusive, you will strengthen that basis to make our country strong, and we have to make sure that in our curriculum that we have the national symbols of this country also stimulated to encourage our people, also those 140 nationalities and counting, to be part and parcel of this country that we all love. National symbolism, and also making sure that in the curriculum, we in the curriculum of the schools, that the people know what we stand for and they stand with us together, making St. Martin strong, building on the foundations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arundel. Ms. Youngman.
Our party is social. We are a social party, and the people, the human being is number 1. If you have illegal foundation here, we will work on them to make them legal because we are a friendly island. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yanga. Mr. DeViva.
Thank you. I believe we have to invest in education, provide opportunities, invest in our people. In order for us to build a nation, we also have to protect it. We need to bridge the social and political divide, work for all of the people, and strengthen the delicate social fabric with strong and lasting fibers, and we have to make it work.
Thank you, Mr. DeViva. Mr. Pontefract.
Madam Moderator, it is easy to sit here and say all kinds of things that we want to hear. The issue is, what are we doing about it? If you look at the National Alliance track record, we have been doing things about it. And as I mentioned before, the issue of the short-term contract, which we started in 2011, will definitely ensure that it's finalized. Because again, if your people are not strong, your country will not be strong. And the abuse that is taking place with these contracts has to be stopped. Yes, they are short-term jobs, 6 months, 3 months, they're 2 months contract. So it's not called a 6 months, it's called a short-term contract. We ensure that that takes place. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Pontefract. We will take another question from the audience.
My question is to the Honorable Minister DeViva. You mentioned that we put people first, so I would like to know how can we stand to have medical referrals to the tune of 30 million a year, and how is it that we still have so many of our elderly and even our younger people who do not have medical coverage, and I would like to know how the others is planning to bridge that gap.
Are you ready to respond?
Sure. First of all, when it comes to medical coverage, St. Martin already has its own form of national insurance. Technically speaking, anyone making below 5,000 is insured by SFE. That accounts for 80% of the St. Martin medical center bills. Those who make a lot of it has to have private insurance. Those who cannot afford, or for whatever reason, can get medical assistance from government. We believe in the phased implementation of this because we find that there are 30% of bus drivers, taxi drivers, sole proprietors who are falling in between the cracks, cannot afford private insurance, and we believe that through our reform that we have submitted and we've met with the stakeholders, that they will be insured in the next few months. This is not a promise, because I don't make promises, but this is definitely the way we intend to go forward. We believe that by having them included in our medical assistance and paying as a fee what they can afford based on what they submit for the taxes will be one way of getting them insured. We believe in putting people first because that is how this country was built. It wasn't built by someone else, it was built by us. And the days of us, whether it was selling electronics, selling jewelry, in the businesses, I think that is the foundation of which the market was built on. We need to continue training our people to be able to make their contribution to it.
Thank you, Mr. DeVivar. Mr. Pontific.
The strength of any country, Madam Moderator, is its people. Any economy to be strong has to have a healthy, healthy citizens in that country. Right now, as we look at St. Martin and look at our healthcare system, we know for a fact that it needs revamping. However, at the same time, we have to look at the issues of our medical center. And we have a building a new medical center, we have expanding the medical center. What we should do is look at expanding the medical center and upgrading the staff that is there at the present moment. It is important that those that are working there feel that they are respected and that they are needed. In the future, as St. Martin grows and the medical center grows, we'll have a better economy in St. Martin. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Pontific. Mrs. Martin.
The question, if I can recall it, is about the lack of medical coverage for certain groups of persons. The United St. Martin Party is looking at, well, the question was actually directed to the minister who has that expertise, but we are saying that we need to look at re-evaluating our current medical system. Indeed, we are spending a lot of money and we can reduce those costs by looking at having specialists, number one, changing the legislation to allow specialists to work here in St. Martin, and that will eliminate having to send persons outside, which has made the cost of SFA sending people out here to get other referrals to lower that expenditure.
Thank you, Mrs. Marlene Romeo. Ms. Arundel.
Having general healthcare insurance has been elusive for much too long. Putting people first is what the United People's Party will do. And we will start by making sure that people who have little access to the current medical center, that they have faster access, that they don't have to wait, especially at the entrance, if they have appendicitis and you need to wait to first register to be able to be helped. So that's what we will put in people first. And of course, the new medical center will come.
Thank you, Ms. Arundel. Ms. Yaka.
We don't wait with the health of the people. Health is a very important space that we have to care of it. Living in St. Martin, who you are, if you are illegal, if you live here, you work, you eat, and you drink here, you deserve to get medical insurance. And St. Martin Medical Center have to get, we stand for the expansion of St. Martin Medical Center. We believe we need to expand them because now is the need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yanga. We will take another question from the audience.
Thank you and good evening, Madam Moderator. There was a question earlier tonight that was posed in terms of the political ideology of the six parties, or five being present here this evening. And I don't believe it came across very clear, so I'm going to ask a follow-up question. And unfortunately, it has to go to Mr. Pamphlet, simply because I understand you can't ask a question to someone on the panel that has already been asked a question. So in the same sense, we'll go to the rest of the candidates. All indications are that the next governing period...
I'm sorry,
yes.
The 30 seconds in which you had to pose your question has lapsed.
Thank you.
I will go to the emails, and this question is directed to Ms. Yanga. Poverty is the #1 issue facing St. Martin. What program will the parties introduce to reduce costs of living, and how will you make it measurable? I will repeat. Poverty is the #1 issue facing St. Martin. What program will the parties introduce to reduce costs of living, and how will you make it measurable? This is a question that was received via email. Ms. Yanga will have 3 minutes to respond. Everyone else will have a minute to respond.
Our party will start #1 to make sure that the people of St. Martin have to be involved in that. The small business, and we have to put a loan guarantee, because you know that here in St. Martin is 6-month contracts, 4-month contract, 3-month contract. And the people don't have no chance to go to the bank to get a loan. If our party is in, we will sure we put a loan guarantee that those people can make it work with a small business. The other thing that we can do, we will do them, is from beginning, we start to take care for the newborn that come in St. Martin. A good foundation, a strong family, and we will give free education, free school, because we have to prepare our children. With our preparation, we stop there. We can get a job after we finish, because we don't have a diploma. Then free school is a must. If the government put it up as must, we have to put it free. All the government schools have to become free for all the children here in St. Martin.
Thank you, Ms. Yanga. Mr. Weaver, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I think we have to really understand what the cause of poverty is. Is it the falling apart of family units? Is it more than that? Is it just a basket of goods that they need to be expanded? Because the education system is there, it's offered, but people have to take advantage of those opportunities. And by us also providing training for those who fall short, I believe we can help them build their skills. We've offered classes in the community centers for budgeting to empower them, and I believe in building people and building our community.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Pantofan.
Madam Moderator, again, it has to do with the continuity of employment. We don't have to look far to see exactly what is taking place again in St. Martin. And as I said before, what we are going to do as national lines government is ensure that the legislation regards to the short-term contract is addressed. If you want to build yourself, you want to build a future, you want to build a home, you want to get a loan, you can, because why? You don't have continuity of employment. And if you don't address this issue, you see what's happening today. So, Madam Moderator, we're going to work on that issue of ensuring that the abuse of the short-term contract is taken care of once and for all.
Thank you, Mr. Pantofan. Mrs. Marlon Romeo.
Poverty. What is poverty? We can look at poverty and with poor people. We also can look at the middle class. At the end of the day, if someone who's making 5,000 acres cannot pay their rent at the end of the month, that is also poverty. So we have to look at what exactly poverty is. What the USP party is saying is that we have to stimulate the economy. We have to look at it from a holistic view. Increase our education system, raise the standard of living, so increase the living wage, create jobs, diversify our economy, train the people, improve our tertiary education. These are the ways that we will stimulate the economy and reduce the poverty level.
Thank you, Mrs. Marlon Romeo. Ms. Aruna.
Thank you. Reducing the cost of living by lowering GB bills, by having affordable housing, by abolishing the 6-month contract, by lowering the food prices, by making sure that our young people have a second chance in life, also those who have fallen to the wayside of the society. For example, through the introduction, which is in Parliament right now, not in Parliament, by the Minister of Justice, to have a social formation plan. So, giving a young person also the skills to be self-sufficient. We know that there is a high percentage, over 60% of illiteracy in our country. And if you cannot read or write properly, your chances of being self-sufficient lowers. So being a social progressive party, we will ensure that the persons, whether they're young or old, female or male, that they can have the chance to read and write properly, and we will ensure that that happens without them having to pay.
Thank you, Ms. Arundel. Before I take the next question from the audience, I would like to remind you that you have 30 seconds to pose your question. And to the audience as a whole, please put your electronic devices on silent. Thank you.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Good evening. I know that each party would ideally like to receive enough votes to govern independently. But should there be a need for a coalition government, what other parties' ideology most closely identifies with your own party? This is to Mr. Pontevet. So, of all the parties, what party's ideology most closely identifies to your party, and you would therefore feel that that would be the best partner to work with along the government?
Thank you for the question. The issue is not what party. The issue is person will choose who they want to work together. And after this is done, we know exactly who to join with. You can never say beforehand you're going to join with this one or that one, because very often you find out the one you think is closest to you is the farthest from you. So I think you should give it the last elections to determine exactly who to join with. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Pontevet. Mrs. Martin Romeo, you may rebut. You have 1 minute. Thank you again, audience, for remaining silent.
That's an interesting question. And of course, I'm not going to answer it because no party can really answer it. You never know what can happen after August 29th. But what I would say is that we are open to forming government with any and every party. So that's the USP party stance. We don't discriminate.
Thank you, Mrs. Martin Romeo. Ms. Arundel?
Excellent question. The voters, all valuable voters and citizens, will decide on August 29th. I am confident of that. August 29th, the voters, the people of St. Martin, will give a mandate to the United People's Party. We need to give a straight, clear answer and not dilly-dally, because the people today, after having spent 4 years of having instability in government, they deserve, or people deserve, to know that we need their help, we need their vote, and we ask you humbly for your vote to make sure that this country is put back on track. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arundel. Ms. Yanga, kindly allow the candidates to respond. Thank you.
Social party, we are a social party, and we're looking forward to a party that take care of the people, because the people is number one for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yanga. Mr. DeBeaver?
Thank you. So I believe that any party that believes in transparency, accountability, and good governance, we can talk to. I believe that when we look at stability in government, it is coming from the Democratic Party and not from the others. Certainly, I believe in a government that works together and sets priorities, real priorities. And the last thing I want to address is it keeps popping up with this 6-month contract. We just passed that law in the Council of Ministers. It's on its way to the governor, Council advisors, Council of Ministers, and then to Parliament. So don't beat a dead horse with it, because we've addressed that. Professor Wood worked with a draft person, Mr. Kunagal, who drafted your version. We have worked together as a team because I believe this is how we move the country forward. Not just bringing it up over and over again when we have addressed this issue. And we don't just look at things one-dimensionally. We have included the regulation of employment agencies, because if not, you will have a shift from one to the other. So that's why we've addressed it. We've addressed the traffic.
Thank you, Mr. DeBeaver. We will take the final question from the audience, and I would like to remind you, you have 30 seconds to pose your question, and you may choose any candidate since all 5 have already gotten a question.
Good night. Several attempts have been made to regulate immigration on the island. Would you say that St. Martin still have an immigration problem? And if so, how do you plan to address that? Mrs. Marlin?
Indeed, we have an immigration issue. There was an attempt through the Brooks Towers Accord to regulate immigration. Was it 100% successful? No. Do we still have an immigration problem? Most likely, most definitely we do. What needs to be done is that we need to regulate our immigration system and also include St. Martin in those talks. Why? Because without the input of the St. Martin, it's a deadbeat horse. So I am saying that immigration will remain a problem if we don't look at it strategically. Additionally, immigration has a negative, if it's not regulated, it has a negative effect on all sectors of this country. And therefore, we need to have make strong decisions to protect what we have now, but also protect from more coming in. St. Martin needs to make tough decisions as it relates to immigration because it puts a burden on our education, on our healthcare system. As I said, every aspect of this society, immigration has an effect on it. So therefore, we need to start having talks with St. Martin because we cannot have one side of the island having one regulation and another side of the island having another, because people will continue to beat the system. And if we don't stop the leakages that we have right now, we will continue trying to have another Brooks Towers Accord. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Marlon Romeo. Ms. Arundel, you may rebut. You have 1 minute.
Our island was built on the shoulders of our ancestors. That is one. However, the immigration issue needs a clear policy in terms of letting people know way in advance in their country of origin what the problems are that we are facing today as a young nation. And how do you do that? By being proactive, by working with the countries that represent the majority of the people here in St. Martin. You cannot just say we're going to close the borders or we do not want immigration, because immigration, if you have people who would help to stimulate your economy, it's good to have new minds, clear minds, creative minds in our country. So instead of being just deciding to close the border, we need to be inclusive but be proactive in dealing with countries of origins where we will perceive some problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arundel. Ms. Younger?
We have to upgrade the immigration, and we have to work close to the other side, to the French side. We have to look the border, not only the border from this side to the other side, but in the water too, the sea too. We have to protect that too. With that, we can be sure that we can upgrade this and that it will go good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Younger. Mr. Weaver?
Since when the immigration and water management have made great leaps, our waters can now be much better controlled and managed. Persons wishing to enter St. Martin other than for the purpose of a visit will have to follow the rules that govern residency on our island. With the new system in place, a much more effective service can be provided, alleviating the temptation by some to try and beat the system. We tend to sometimes focus on the negative, even though we've been part of government. Those factions sitting on the table. I believe we also have to look at the progress that St. Martin has made and build on that. We've had 2 ministers of justice within the last 4 years, and I believe, again, our cooperation with the French side is one that we need to continue to build on because it does affect both sides of the island.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Pandita?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The issue of immigration is one that has been going on for many, many years. Fact is, how do you solve it? First and foremost, it will not be solved overnight. What has to happen, it has been said in the past, is that government and private sector should definitely sit down and ensure that what is taking place today with the use of foreign workers Because fact is, look, don't fool yourself, okay? Businesses thrive on immigration. They thrive on illegal process working in the island. So what we have to do as a government is sit down and ensure that proper mechanisms are put in place in order to prevent this. But again, it's going to take some time. It won't take overnight. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Pontefract. We will now revert to emails, questions that came in via emails. This question is being posed to Mr. Cornelius de Weaver.
The final debate will take place on Sunday, August the 24th, with the leaders of each political party. Sxmnewsroom.
Did you hear?
Hear what?
He's coming back.
Who's coming back?
He's coming back.
Oh yeah, he's coming back.
So, he's coming back.
He's coming back.
Thank God he's coming back.
My name is Franklin Myers, the number 3 candidate on the United People's Party, and I'm back.
Vote Frankie Myers, your number 3 candidate on the United People's Party.
Dear valued voter, my name is Gracita R. Arundel, your number 2 candidate on the United People's Party slate. August the 29th, 2014 is a very important day. Why? Because safety and security are important to you and to me. But we need your vote. We need your support to make sure that we have more police officers, that we have more resources to assist these police officers who put their lives on the limb every single day. They go out for your future. I'm right here in a park. The neighborhoods, we need to support and secure more community police officers for our neighborhoods. Safety, security, sand, sea and sun, they can go together. As a tourism island, we depend on tourism, but safety and security will make sure that our tourists keep coming back. Together, you and I, we are ready to make it happen on August the 29th, 2014. I'm waiting for you. Thank you.